Hey guys, welcome back. So this is going to be the third part of the mini series on creating a Active application using Django. So in this part we are going to learn how to add a CSS file to your Django application. We'll also learn about how to create a model form. Then we'll learn how to add, post, update, delete functionalities into your application. So the first thing I will do is I will create a CSS directory in my project or the base directory. So here first I will just create a new folder, and instead of writing a CSS directory I will call this as static, because Django consider this file like CSS file as static files, so this will be static. Now inside the static file, for more specification, I can add a new folder called style, and inside the style I can create a new file called style.css. Okay, now we have to let know Django that this file exists, so we have to do some settings manually. So I will go to the settings file, and the very first thing I will do here is I will import the OS module, because we are going to need that. And if you navigate to downwards, you will come across something called static URL. Okay, so after this you will add a tuple variable, so this will be static files underscore dars, and this is a predefined tuple, so all you need to do is just add the path of your CSS file, so actually the static directory. So now we are going to use the OS module here, so in small letters of course, so os.path.join, and we want to join the base directory with our static directory. And after that obviously a comma is needed, so add here. Now save it. Let's go to our base HTML, and we will try to connect the CSS file in our base HTML file. So after my title I can just add here a link tag, and instead of this /css and /master.css I need to change this with Django expression. So the expression line will be static, and then in quotation I will write the path of the CSS file, so it was in my style folder, so, and the file name was style.css. After adding this link tag we have to do a last thing, and that is load the static file. So load static. Now save it here. Let's go to our browser. Okay, so now we'll just see the source and see if there is any CSS file has been created. If I click here, we cannot see anything because we haven't added any CSS code. So let's add some code that will change the font family of this text. Okay, so I'll navigate to my style.css file, and I'll add here body, and I want to change the font family, so add font family to sans serif. Let's save this. Now if I open up this and reload this, you can see the font has been changed, and if I reload here you can see the CSS code, which means that our CSS file is now successfully connected to our application. Okay, the next thing we need to do is to create a model form. If you remember the last video, in the last video we created this data by using the Django admin panel, but I want to do something manually from the front of the page. So the first thing I will do here is that again, before just doing that, let's create a model form first. Okay, so in our app directory we'll create a new file called forms.py. Okay, so in the forms.py we'll first import from the Django import forms. Now we also need to import the model, so from models import to do, and then we'll use something called the model form in order to create a form that will help us to add data in our database. And the name of this form is model form because it will take the data of the database and it will help us to save the data what should I say, fluently, or what should I say is automatically. I cannot transcribe this process, but I can show this to you practically. So let's create a class here called sorry about that, it's called post form because we want to post data, and this will be derived from forms dot model form. Okay, so now we need to add another class here, class meta. Then we need to add the model to this meta. So the model was to do, and the fields that are required to be presented on the page will be first the title and then the content. So now we just need to create a view and route to use this model form. Okay, so I'll just go to my view and create a new form, new view here called post, and I'll add request here. Inside this view file I'll go ahead and import the model form. So from forms import post form. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so now what we need to do here is to create a route, but before that let's just return render, and we need to render an HTML file to be presented, but we have no HTML file, so I need to create one. So let's go to the templates in To-Do app. I'll create a new file called the post-create.html, and this will help us to add posts to our database. It will also help us to update our database. So just like my index.html, I can just go ahead and copy this thing, add it here. I just need to clear this block. Okay, so file would be that is to-do app slash post dash create HTML, and we have to pass some context. So context, let's call the form first, so form, and it was post form. Inside the context I can pass the form, so in my HTML I can add the form here. So I'll use the form tag. Now because we are using form, it is required in the Django that you should add a CSRF token tag. So CSRF underscore token. We are passing the form from here in our post create HTML file. So we'll use the form, and there is another thing we can use with the form is .as underscore p. So the form will be represented in paragraph mode, and then we can add a button, and the type will be of the button will be submit. Okay, so I can also call here submit. Now I can add here an h1 tag, and I can just go ahead and pass another variable in this page. So I can set this page to be post page. Okay, and let me pass the post. So post page will be post. Here I can use a if else condition. So if page is equal to post, then I want you to create an h1 tag with the title called add post. Else if this is not the post page, then I want you to go ahead and create a title called update. I want you to end these if tags, so I'll write here end if. So save that. Now what we need to do is we need to go to this URLs that was customly created by us. So we have to create another URL here, path, and since we are creating a post, I can say this path will be create underscore post, and we have to import that post function. So views dot post, and the name of this URL will be post. Okay, so everything seems to be okay now. Well, our model form is already created here, so I can just see this. This is our model form. We imported the to-do here and added that to-do in our model class. Then we created a view. We imported the post form from forms. We added that form into our view and pass it as a context in our HTML file so we can see the form. So save all. Let's see if the server is running okay. Okay, so it's running. Now to enter this URL, I need to add something to my index.html. So after very end of this block, I can go ahead and add a link tag here, and I can add the Django expression and add the URL path. So it was the post URL, and I can call it create post. let me save this. Okay, let's go ahead and run the browser. So you can see that there is a create post link. Now if I click this, you can see that we have a form in our HTML page. So this is the same title and the content that was required by our admin panel. Now it won't work if I just add a data to these boxes and just submit it, because we are not saving the data. So in order to save the data, first we need to use the form object and then save it.